Shalom, Yashrallah. This is your brother Dawudah, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Arkin, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I'm gonna jump in on this here topic dealing with this here fire out there in France, all right, in Paris. But nevertheless, as you seen yesterday, this was going on yesterday. Basically this church, Notre Dame, from not to say from the cartoon, but a lot of us over here in America knew about that place over there from the cartoon, the Hunchback of Notre Dame or whatnot. But nevertheless, this here really old church wound up burning down, So we're gonna get here into this here article, and I want to bring out something about all these things because it's kind of as we getting in, this seemed to be a theme in a lot of these here lessons is the reading the writing on the wall. All right. So looking at the things that's going on around you and understanding what time that we living in. All right. You look up and for your salvation is not. The Most High is how do I say? He's working. How do I put it? These prophecies are speaking, though it tarry wait for it. But nevertheless, all these things are speaking. All right, within a lot of different things, So I'm gonna go ahead and go into this here article. I'm gonna bring out some scriptures because it's just like what happened to us. The same thing is happening to them. All right, but nevertheless, we're gonna get into this here article. It says French billionaires pledge big donations to rebuild fire-ravaged Notre Dame. Now with some of these names, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce them, but it says some of France's richest families have promised to help restore the Notre Dame Cathedral after a devastating fire destroyed much of the historic Paris landmark. Let me see something real fast. Yeah. All right. Well, here's an image of it. All right, because I was gonna go back and look at because there's some other articles that show some pictures of it. But if you want to see what it looked like the day after the fire, this is what it looks like down here. All right. So let's go back up to the top. It says, hang on. Just for edification's sake, just open up a couple of these here articles and show some of these here pictures. All right. So here's the inside of it. Give me 1 second. There's some more pictures of it. There was a article where they had like a 3D or 360 degree view of it. But nevertheless, here's some of the photos of this here fire. If you didn't catch it live yesterday as it was going on. All right. And there's an image of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like I said, from the cartoon. More of the images of the fire. Okay. Now let me get back to this here article. All right, it says some of France's richest families have promised to help restore the Notre Dame Cathedral after a devastating fire destroyed much of the historic Paris landmark. French businessmen, we'll just call him Frank. All right, French businessman Frank said on Monday night he and his family, including his wife, actress Selma Hayek, will donate 113 million to the cathedral's reconstruction. The tragedy strikes all French and beyond all those who are attached to the spiritual values, he tweeted. Faced with such tragedy, everyone wishes to give life back to the jewels of our heritage. It's kind of funny and ironic that they were talking about giving life back to the jewels of our heritage when, especially with these here Edomites all over the world, they're trying to cancel out the Bible and all these things like that, But these are hypocrites, man. These are all hypocrites because hey, if you're a spiritual man, you already know that they hypocrites and the shit that they doing. But they over here crying, oh, our church is burned down, so on and so forth. But these are the same people trying to ban the Bible and the words that's in the scriptures, But now they talking about their heritage or whatnot. If they really want to go that far, be like, all right, well, if that's your heritage, you want to go back to the Bible. What about homosexuality? Oh, well, we got to forget that. We can't read that. We want to ban those books. Well, wait a minute. But this here church goes back to, how, you know, hundreds of years back to where, what I'm saying, they wasn't teaching and pushing all these things. All these things y'all pushing nowadays in these modern day churches all just came up in the last couple of years. All right. It says Pinot is the chair and CEO of the international luxury group Kering, which includes Gucci and Saint Laurent. He is also president of holding company group Artemis, which owns the fine art auction Christie's. My father, Francisco Pinot, and I have decided to release, as of now, from the funds of the Artemis sum of 100 million euros to participate in an effort that will be necessary for the complete reconstruction of Notre Dame, he said. Pinot donation was doubled on Tuesday morning by Bernard Arnault, owner of luxury goods group LVMH, whose brands include Moet, Chandon, and Dior. I believe this is the same group that owns like Louis Vuitton as well too. All right. I think it owns like Louis Vuitton and this is another one of the big ass name brand companies that everybody like wearing. It says, in the wake of this national tragedy, the Arnault family and the LVMH group pledged their support for Notre Dame. They will donate a total of 200 million euros to fund the reconstruction of this architectural work, which is an integral part of the history of France. A statement posted by the LVMH Twitter account read. French President Emmanuel Macron said late Monday he plans to launch a national fundraising campaign to rebuild the 800-year-old cathedral. So they're already talking about the rebuilding of this here church, all right? It says Valérie Pressy, the leader of the France Ile-de-France region, said that the region would release 10 million pounds of emergency aid to help the Archbishop make the first work of reconstruction. The French Heritage Society, an American nonprofit dedicated to the preservation, restoration, and promotion of the French heritage in the U.S. and France, has also launched a fund for Notre Dame restoration. Its executive director, Jennifer Herlin, told Reuters that Notre Dame is obviously an architectural marvel and most certainly a monument that should be restored. All right, here is that article that shows you that imagery. All right, it says a jewel of the medieval Gothic architecture, the Notre Dame Cathedral is one of the world's best known and most visited monument. It took more than 400 firefighters to tackle the blaze, which believed to have started in the scaffolding erected to perform repairs in the cathedral. The exact cause of the fire is under investigation. Despite the extensive damages, the walls of Notre Dame, as well as many of the priceless religion relics inside, remain intact. 2 police officers and 1 firefighter was injured while tackling the fire. All right. Now, in reading this here article, one thing I thought about with all this, we don't know how it's all going to play out. All right. But one thing I noticed with all this is like, damn, normally Esau be waiting on any type of situation to happen that they can take control of and use it to just spin a propaganda, because they saying that this here fire, was just a freak accident. It was like, they was doing some construction and maybe, after doing the fire watch, whatever, some flames actually didn't go out after doing hot work and it caused a fire, and I can totally see that, what I'm saying? I used to work in a place where things like that happen. You do some hot work, and in fact, actually, part of our building wound up burning down because of that. They was doing some welding or whatnot, some electrical work inside the walls. And, they was, grinding with some metal, whatnot, and some embers wound up falling down and catching on to, some of the, installation inside the wall. All right. But it was a small ember fell way down and sparked the fire. And, it was like maybe an hour or 2 later, they started, smelling smoke coming up. But, the fire was in between the wall, hard to get to, so this fire wound up burning for a couple hours, all because of, from some construction and just a small little ember. So, that could, actually be what actually happened. You know what I'm saying? Some shit like that could possibly happen. Hey, it was just a so-called freak accident. All right. But the way what Esau does, he, if something like that happens, some kind of freak accident that he didn't do. All right. He's quick to jump onto something that they can use for, like they say, a new 9/11, or they say a new Pearl Harbor type thing. They look for these type of things to capitalize off of, or like, let's say there's a a real massive shooting going on somewhere, like just some psychopath decided to go on a mass shooting spree, all right, and the government didn't so-called plan this or whatever, whatnot, they're like, oh shit, here go an opportunity to push gun control, or here go an opportunity to push X, Y, and Z. You know, I just found it kind of like funny that, you know, so far they didn't rule out that somebody actually did this to them. They was like, well, you know, it was just a freak accident, whatever, whatnot, so on and so forth. But the part of this here article that's worth looking into is what, that how all these people are talking about rebuilding this here church, all right? So give me 1 second. We're gonna get into the scriptures because, like I said, all these things are you know, it's a glorious time that we living in, man. And if you got the eyes to see, the Most High is showing you all these different signs that, hey, man, the end is coming. All right, the end is right around the corner. All right. So I'm gonna read here Matthew chapter 24. I'm gonna read verse 1 and verse 2. It says, and Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show to show him the building of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see not all these things. All right, talking about the temple. Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. All right. Now this is talking about what? All right, talking about over there in Jerusalem, right? Now, we had a temple that was up, that was built when Yahushua was actually walking on the scene, but right after not say right after he died, but, you know, a time after he died around, what was 70 AD, you know? This was basically the time where Titus and Vespasian, what's the guy, Domitian and all of them, they wound up going up into the temple and sacking the temple and so on and so forth. All right. Like the scriptures say, when you see the temple surrounded round about, you know what I'm saying? Now, you know, this is the time that we're speaking about. All right. So these are the times when in our history of our, how do I say, our biggest or our greatest downfall, the beginning of our greatest downfall. All right. Because even up into those times, when Yahushua was walking the scenes, when we're reading right here and right now, like Paul said, you know, they know which tribe they was from. They knew who they were. They knew they was Israelites. All right. Like Yahushua said, hey, I was coming to give repentance and bring repentance to and salvation unto Israel. All right. So they knew who they were at that point in time. Right. But in nowadays times, right now, we didn't know who we were. That's why we had to wake up to this here truth. All right. Because why? The Romans wound up taking our temple, sacking our temple, burning it down, whatever, whatnot. All right. And then basically, we wasn't in power, more or less to say, like we were still in subjection under them, but we was still, how do I say, we wasn't in subjection like how we in subjection now, right? Where they removed us up out of our land, taking us completely out of our, not to say our power seat, but from where we was at, you know, completely put us in subjugation. All right. And saying that to say this, that was the end of our, not to say our reign, but the end of us. You understand what I'm saying? Like we in this captivity now. It wasn't until after that's when we got put into Africa. From Africa, you go sub-Saharan slave trade. Sub-Saharan slave trade to what? The transatlantic slave trade. Transatlantic slave trade to what? Babylon the Great. That's where we at now. So the starting of that process started when what? When the Romans came in and sacked Jerusalem. All right, burned down the temples and so on and so forth. All right, so this was basically the end of us at that point in time. All right, because we had already basically came to an end already before then, but we still knew that we was Israelites. So we didn't get to this damn depleted, destroyed state up until now, when we was completely taken up out of our position. All right. So I wanted to read that just to show one of the markers before we actually got taken down. You see what I'm saying? All the way down to where we at now. All right. The Romans came in and burned our temple and sacked our temple, more or less to say. Now, I'm not saying that to say that, oh, well, we wound up burning down a church or whatever, whatnot, but all in all these things are happening because of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? They keep talking about how this church goes way back and whatever, whatnot. They want to go back to their heritage where things was built off of. This is a staple in the center of our things. All right. So going back to those things that we know that we don't deal with, you know, these churches and temples and stuff like that, because these are all harlot houses. But nevertheless, this is where the so-called white man so-called put his foundational truth in. You know, he so-called lie about that. But, you know, like all these how do you say, Christian denominations all come up out of that the Catholic Church, more or less to say. All right. And as you see, the Most High caused it so that building would basically burn down. All right. And this, you know, got all these people thinking, and now they all having to go back. How do I say, being forced to so-called think about the Lord. All right. Because beforehand, they was just running around doing whatever, whatnot. A lot of those people out there sighing and crying for that damn church. A lot of them probably ain't even, I don't know if they go to that church. How do I say, to actually have a service or whatever, whatnot, or if it's a straight tourist attraction. But nevertheless, none of those people was worried about either going into that church to, you know, so-called serve the Lord, or going into any church to so-called serve the Lord. They was probably out doing whatever they wanted to do or atheists or whatever, whatnot. Now they out there crying about this here temple. All right. But nevertheless, these are all signs of the things to come. Let me grab Deuteronomy 30:7, because I was just going into what? Our temple being burned down right before we was cast up out of Jerusalem, before we got taken into hardcore bondage and slavery. All right. So now Esau is in his rulership. He set up all these temples or whatever, whatnot. All right. But before those things, before he come up out of power, there's a lot of things that always happen. Well, anybody come out of power. All right. They wind up losing, you can go back to a death of a empire. They'll tell you the certain things that happen before empire declines. You have like, how they say, a bunch of basically like debauchery, people doing whatever they want to do, all kind of shit. People lose once the language first. I believe it's the first thing happen is the language barrier breakdown. All right. Once you break down your language barrier, you know what I'm saying? You basically start the transition of dumbing yourself down. All right. And I'll give you an example of that. Back in the days, you know what I'm saying? Before you was texting and all that stuff, you had to write people. You write out words, you spell them all the way out, whatever, whatnot. But nowadays you got text and social media where you get certain amount of characters. So now people are putting things like JK for just kidding, LOL for laugh out loud. You even have a lot of Jake that'll spell what like WUT or WAT. Now, further and further on is they keep doing this over and over again. They believe this is how these words are spelled. So now they're not even, they're not really using your brain to so-called phonically sound these words out or whatever, whatnot. You just repeating things and you shortening down your language. All right. Because especially with these tweets and stuff like that, right? Or Facebook posts, they only got a certain amount of characters, getting these people prepared that they only want to read things in short bursts. So reading the Bible is too much for them. All right. They only want to read, let's just say, verse 5. That's enough text for them to read. All right. They couldn't read a whole chapter because they're not used to all that digestion of information like they used to be. All right. So when these things happen, you start believing in any and everything. Just like when you about to buy a car or a house or whatever, whatnot, you got to sign some fine print. Most people nowadays, because like when you sign up on anything online, you just hit the agree button. You don't even read that. It's too much to read because you've been conditioned that that's just too much. This is how you get into a trap. This is how your civilization start going on that downhill decline. Then they start fucking with the currency, the money and stuff like that, devaluing the currency, making it into nothing. You took away the real gold and you gave us fiat currency. So now it's just a bunch of debauchery going on. Fuck up the education system and so on and so forth. All these things are signs before a civilization or a nation goes down. All right. But in the scriptures, they also tell you about the prophets of the Lord. The prophets of, like there's a underlying chain reaction that always happens, like let's say Israel they will go off, then they'll get punished and put in slavery under another nation. All right. Now, before that happened, then that nation will get built up while the Israelites are there. Then it'll come to a point where their captivity is almost over. But now that civilization that they start going on a downhill decline anyway. The Lord will start raising up the men of the Lord. The prophets will go out and start prophesying against their kingdom. All right. And then all of a sudden, what am I looking for? This is Ezekiel 33 and 30, Ezekiel 33 and 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then they shall know that a prophet have been among them. All right. So going into the prophets coming out, the prophets go out and they prophesy about certain things, just like Noah. Noah was out there telling them, yo, the Lord finna rain this bitch out and y'all gonna drown. You know what I'm saying? So before the destruction come, there's always a prophet. The prophets come out. So that's what you see now. The prophets are coming out. All right. Let me go back to this here, because this is, the marker of a lot of these things. All right. The turning of the tides. All right. Like in, what is that? Second Ezra, I believe 6, where it says, when is the end of the world and the pardons, asunder the times? It says, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. So, for instance, you know what I'm saying? When am I going to see this here trailer come down the road? Well, you got to see the front half of the semi truck before you see the trailer come. So if you see the front of the truck, you're going to wind up seeing the back of the truck soon after. You're not going to see the trailer of the truck coming before the damn truck. It's like they say in the world, you put the carriage before the horse. You're going to see the horse before you see the carriage. All right. So Esau would be the horse, but then right after the horse passed by, you're going to see the horse pulling at their carriage. So Esau is in power now, and you starting to see him fall down, and you starting to see Jacob being raised back up. All right. Just like in the times when the temple was being brought down, our people had started sliding further and further and further and further and further away from the Lord. All right. The prophets was being raised up, letting them know, look, death and destruction is coming. All right. These things are coming, like we just read in Matthew 24, verse 1 and 2. All right. So these are all markers of certain things that's starting to come to pass and things like that. All right. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. It says, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. All right. So now let's go back to Matthew 24, verse 1 and 2, where Yahweh was telling us that, basically that the heathens was going to come in and they was going to tear down the temple. All right. They was going to tear all that down. And that was basically going to mark the end of us and up into this here time. All right. So now that was not to say when we was in power, but we wasn't in the state where we was at now. Now Esau's in his full power, all right, and now his kingdom is coming down, it's collapsing. You got all these other signs going on as well. This is just one of the signs, all right. And what is that one sign? Now that he's coming up out of his heaven, all right, or he's about to be moved up out of his heaven. All these things are coming down, his idols and all these different things. Real quick, let me try to see if I can find that. Where's no, it's a lot. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 2. It says, declare ye among the nations and publish and set up a standard. All right. Go ahead and tell the people these things. Put it out there. It says, publish and conceal not. Tell everybody. Don't hide it. Say Babylon is taken. All right. That's where we are here in America. All right. And Babylon is being ruled by who? The Edomites. All right. And it's not going to just be these Americans, Edomites that get taken out of power. All right. Edom as a whole. All right. It says Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. All right. And so, I mean, we can keep reading. That goes into how do I say, the destruction of Babylon the Great. All right. All these things are foreshadowing the destruction of Babylon the Great and the ultimate end of Esau, Edom. All right. But we got France. These are their brothers as well. But the things that represent them, the things that are iconic unto them. All right. Not just in that article I read, there's other articles as well telling you about how other Edomites from different places like Russia, so on and so forth, they all putting forth money to rebuild this here temple. All right. They want to go out here and set this here temple back up. But what the Lord said that all these curses were going to come upon them. We can measure the time diligently. Before we fell, our temples and stuff was up and was taken down. But now their temples and their idols are starting to be broken down, just like what we were reading right here. Before the fall of Babylon, they idols and their worship things and all these things are going to start, not to say falling down, but they're going to be removed, more or less to say. All these things that are standing up, like how in his church, you're like, oh, this was a pinnacle point and the cornerstone of this and that. Now that then fell, now all these spirits are so-called broken. All right. These are the things that's going on. Just like when our temple was sacked, how it broke us in our spirit and so on and so forth. All right. These are things that's happening to them, and it's all spiritual because the Lord's like, look, y'all don't really like God. Y'all don't really want this shit anyway. Y'all all faking anyway. And most of y'all out here cursing the Lord out anyway. And you know what I'm saying? But now I burn down your church. You want to be all sympathetic. You know what I'm saying? That goes to show y'all worship that building more than you worship me anyway. Y'all heathen, y'all ain't gonna get it anyway. But nevertheless, and y'all bullshit lie anyway, you care more about this here building than the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord that you claim to be serving is asking you to do. All right. This is the book of Malachi, chapter 1. I'm gonna read it 1 through 4. It says, the burden of the word to Israel by Malachi. It says, I have loved you, saith Yahweh, yet you say, where thou hast loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob and hated Esau. All right. And we all know about that. The Most High hate Esau and he loves Jacob, right? The Most High hate the so-called white man, but he loved the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans. All right. The Israelites. All right. Verse 3. It says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Now, this ain't necessarily taking place yet because you still see the cities and all these places of Esau up right now. But the Lord this is what he's saying. Look, I'm about to start fucking them up. They about to be taken out of place forever. All right. But nevertheless, this is where we coming into this state where Babylon is going to be made bare. All right. Verse 4, it says, whereas Edom saith, we're impoverished. All right. Because why? You go back to what the Roman Empire, the the Edomites, they was in charge then, and a part of the Roman Empire. But then what? Jake wound up coming up over top of them. All right, and Jake was in power, I believe. The so-called white man, I believe, was in the Roman Empire. I'm not sure when it started, But nevertheless, all the way up to about the year, 90, 95 or something like that. All right. And then from that time all the way up to 1492, Jake was pretty much in power over there. Well, no. Actually, later than that, the 1600s, King James, 1611. All right. King James was still in power in the 1600s. All right. That was a so-called black man. So we was pretty much there. That's when Esau was impoverished. All right. But then what did he say? We will return and build the desolate places. And that's what you see now. That's that dragon that had a wound, that deadly wound that was healed. All right. Because like I said, they had the Roman Empire first, but then we wound up coming and taking over the Roman Empire. And we had rulership all the way up until fully, I believe, really it goes up to 1800 something. You know what I'm saying? There was still because I think the czars in Russia, before, I believe, not the last czars of Russia, the ones right before them, I believe they were so-called black people. It might even have been the very last ones. They were so-called black people, all right, ruling over there. When you have, I believe the last queen of Hawaii was a so-called black woman. All right. Now this all happened after, what is that? 18 or yeah, like 1855. All this happened after that fact. You see what I'm saying? So, or they was in power all the way up into these time frames. So nevertheless, we were still somewhat in power, but Esau up until this time is still rebuilding, taking over the whole world, right? This is what you see him constantly still doing now, trying to rule the whole world, have a new world order. All right. He's trying to fulfill that that so-called image of that statue. He done built up him like in the book of Daniel, man, he's building up this great, big, huge statue, and he's polishing it all up and putting the last little things on there. You see what I'm saying? But what? Yahushua gonna come rain up out the sky and smash that image into pieces. All right. So it says, whereas Edom say, if we're impoverished, all right, from after the Roman Empire, but we will return and build the desolate places. Like he didn't came and took over the whole world now. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, like they didn't built up America, all these places. They didn't built all these places up. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, the people of whom Yahweh have indignation forever. All right, so they're going to be called the border of wickedness, which we understand that. That's why we call them the so-called white man, the damn devil. But they said that they shall build, and I will throw down. So they didn't rebuilt and built up all these different places or whatever, whatnot. But the Lord ultimately is going to tear all these things down. All right, this is the ultimate end for all these things. All right, and like I said, this church burning down, this is like a so-called old ass church where they found so-called foundations was built off of, and so whatever, whatnot. All right, it's just like a big tall skyscraper. You want to take down a tall skyscraper, you don't start at the top and start chipping away. Nah, you start chipping away at the bottom. You know, it's like the Jenga blocks or whatever, whatnot. You know, if you know, it's a lot easier to make the whole tower fall if you start pulling blocks from the bottom rather than the top. Right. So this is the same thing. All right. Their foundation is being broken up first, just like how they did us. They took away the temple first. All right. Well, we was already going off in our minds and separating from the law. But ultimately, they took away our our so-called religious sector first and foremost. All right. And then when we start going, you start basically becoming a reprobate and believing in any and every damn thing, you getting further and further away from your power. All right. Same with these damn people, man. They foundation, the thing that's so-called bring them together, whatever, whatnot. All this is coming out from up under their feet, man. All right. Their whole thing is starting to fall. Their whole might and everything, you know, oh, God is with us, whatever, whatnot. Well, how come all these calamities is happening to y'all asses like this, man? What's going on over here, man? All right. So this is, you know, these are all signs of what these prophecies coming to pass that the Most High had told us about. All right. So what? Let me, where's that? Habakkuk? Yep. Habakkuk 2 and 3, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Like we just read, Esau was going to build, but he was going to rebuild desolate places, but the Most High was going to tear it back down. All right. And these things are written in the Old Testament before he even had that time to even come into power, before to take back down. So yeah, we looking for these things. It ain't happening. But what the Lord said, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. It's for a certain time. All right. You're going to eat dinner at 3 p.m. or 5 p.m. All right. And you out here talking about some, I'm hungry, I'm starving, blah, blah, blah. And here it is, 2:15. Like, bruh, dinner don't get served at 5 o'clock. You can say what you want to say, but you got to wait till 5 o'clock. You saying you hungry is not going to make it come no faster. You know what I'm saying? Just because you don't eat at 2:30 don't mean the food ain't coming. Food coming is going to be here at 5 o'clock. All right. Same with these here prophecies, because we wanted them to come on our time and they didn't come in that time because we didn't understand. All right. Don't mean it's not coming at all. But these things are all coming to pass. And like I said, if you got the spiritual eyes to see these things, you see all the writing on the wall all around you. You know that the Most High is definitely finna do something ASAP. All right. It says Habakkuk 2 and 2 or 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. All right. So like I said, these prophecies, they're going to come regardless of if it's on your time, whether or not it's on your time or the time you expect it, it's going to come when it was appointed to come at. All right. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come, and it will not tarry. So all these prophecies, they're going to come to pass regardless of if it's on your time or not. You know what I'm saying? It's ultimately on the Most High's time. All right. Let me touch on this real quick. This is Acts chapter 7, verse 48 and 49. It says, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophets. Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. What house will you build me, saith Yahweh? Or what is the place of my rest? All right. So for all these people who are putting their, basically they worship in this here temple. All right. They over here saying, look, the Lord, you got to go to this church, be under this denomination, worship and serve this here way, for the Lord, whatever, whatnot. And all these ways are all contrary to the Most High. All right. You got to be a Catholic, go to the Catholic church and mass or whatever, whatnot. Hey, man, that's not how the Most High set it up, man. All right, that's not what's going on. I mean, you can look at our people who's up in these churches, so-called worshiping and praising God, and they own enemy, which the same person as their enemy is the same person as the Most High's enemy, the same person that the Most High hate, go in there and gun you down while you in there supposed to be praying to this here God, but then you forgive this person. See, you're not in line with the Most High to begin with. You in these temples trying to worship God, and he trying to show you who your enemy is and let you know that this motherfucker finna come wax your ass, but yet you want to forgive your damn enemy. The Most High is like, no, there's no place of repentance for him. Why are you trying to forgive him when I ain't forgave him? You see what I'm saying? Our people are so how do I say, thrown off and backwards, but nevertheless, that's our people. All right. Our people need to get their shit together. But when we look at these other things going on around with these Edomites, they're not going to understand to begin with. They the ones hijacked our things. All right. They're the ones did all these different things. But nevertheless, it says, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, saith the prophets. All right. So they over here thinking and worshiping on this here temple as if that's where the Most High is at, but that's not how it is to begin with. All right, these things are all carnal things for them. All right, and you ain't supposed to be having these damn temples with these idols and things like that in them. All right, you're not supposed to be bowing down. Hey, that's like the first commandment. You see what I'm saying? You ain't supposed to be bowing down to no damn idols and stuff like that. And you go in these Catholic churches, you just walk in, you see these damn statues. You put a cross around your chest and bow down to these things and got these candles and whatever, whatnot, worshiping the Virgin Mary. All these crazy things, man. Just like in the old days, they was making a temple to Diana and stuff like that. Talking about Diana, the great goddess or whatever, whatnot. Same shit in these damn Catholic churches. They worship goddamn the Virgin Mary more than they worship. Hold up. Let me fix that. They worship the so-called Virgin Mary rather than who they so-called call the Lord. The Lord. They not really trying to worship the Lord. They trying to worship their own image or whatever the fuck they got going on. But you understand what they trying to get you to think, right? Oh, we worship, the son of God and his mama. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all niggas is backwards. All right. But nevertheless, this is all just, how do I say? This is all against scripture. All right. The way they doing it, because I mean, not to say it's against scripture, but it's also in the scriptures. All right. Just like I was saying about how they talking about Diana of Ephesus. All right. How they worshiping Diana and making these little idols and stuff inside these temples. It's no different. All right. It's the same thing. But this is why the Lord is going to destroy all these things. All right. Because why? They did the same thing back in the old days, turning the Father's house into a money changers and whatever, whatnot, fleecing the flock, so on and so forth. They did all these things. All right. And in modern days today, the Lord says, look, I'm not dwelling in these temples made with hands, man. You want to hear the word of the Lord? Hey, my service out on the highways and the byways. You can go on the internet and find this. All right. It says publish this and conceal it not. Don't hide it behind the doors. Put it out there for everybody to hear it. You know what I'm saying? We'll read through Ezekiel 8. This is Ezekiel 8 and 5. It says, then he said unto me, son of man, lift up thy eyes now to the way towards the north. Let me see. Nevertheless, I'll give you a backdrop of what's going on. The Most High took Ezekiel and basically took him, he traveled through time, right? Now, see, a lot of this type of shit, right? People don't even be thinking about this shit. Yeah, there's time travel in the Bible, man. All right? You got to understand how when they be saying certain things, like, yo, you got to actually visualize what's going on, right? Let me read verse 3. It says, and he put forth, this talking about the Most High, or, the Most High dealing with Ezekiel. It says, and he put forth a form of a hand and took me by a lock of my head, and the spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven. So just basically reading this verbatim and carnally speaking, all right, Ezekiel was taken up between the earth and the heaven. You know what I'm saying? He was moved and picked up and transported from one place to another place. All right. Now, whether that was his physical body or a spiritual vision, i.e. he was moved. All right. So it says he put forth the form of a hand and took me by the lock of my head, and the spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven and brought me into the vision of the Most High to Jerusalem and the door of the inner gate, and looked towards the north, and there was the seat of the image of jealousy, which provoked to jealousy. All right. So again, Ezekiel was lifted up and he was taken into a different location, first and foremost, but not just a different location. He was brought into a different time period altogether. All right. This time period that he was talking about is pretty much in today's times where he was at. He's walking around modern day Babylon a damn day, walking in these damn churches. This is what he basically is seeing. All right. So he, you know what I'm saying? He's a prophet prophesying, saying before it even happened. All right. The Most High didn't take Ezekiel out into the modern day city where he was at, like, yo, go in that church down the block and go see what's going on up in there and then write what you see in the book. No, he said that a form of a hand took him up by the lock of his head, and the spirit lifted him up between the earth and the heaven. So he was taken to a whole nother place. All right. Now, when you read further into this, it's more or less like a vision that he's seeing. But because there's some other things like he's going to dig through a wall and shit like that. But nevertheless, you can understand that this is basically he's getting a vision, more or less time traveling into today's times and see what we're doing in these churches today. All right. And he's got it all the way down to a T. All right. So now when it says he was taken to the seat of the image of jealousy, which provoketh to jealousy. All right. What is the image of jealousy? First and foremost, well, we can go into just the image of Yahushua. Well, no. The image of Jesus, that white image. Now, where was all this set up through? And how was all this set up? Through this Catholic Church, which is the foundation of and the mother of all these different religions that they got out here now. All right. This great mother harlot that's fucking around with everybody, got everybody fucking with her. You see what I'm saying? All these different religions and all these different things all stem out and come out from what? This Catholicism stuff. All right. The so-called white man's religion. All right. You can go back into what? First Maccabees chapter 1. Really, you can start at First Maccabees chapter 1:1, right? Which goes into, and it happened when Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, all right, came in and basically was raised up to take war and to conquer. All right, going back to what? Job 9:4. No. Job 9:24, where it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That was when the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. And then after Alexander died, the four to put the crowns on their heads, wickedness was multiplied in the earth. All right, and what did Antiochus do? He tried to have everybody he tried to reign over everybody else, make everybody worship his laws, his religion, and so on and so forth. All right. Creating all these different things like this to make this here fake ass religion. All right. So this is what they wound up doing, where they set up this here bullshit, this Catholicism, which birthed Christianity and all the other different forms. All right. Put up that fake ass Jesus. So this is that image of jealousy. Like, you're not supposed to have no other God before the Most High. You're not supposed to be bound down in none of that. And we only gonna speak about Jake. All right. Most of us was growing up. I know I can speak for myself, but the majority of us that was growing up, you know, when we, at the end of the day, when we about to get into bed, we got on our knees and we bowed down and we was praying basically with a so-called white man in our minds. All right. Like I can again speak for myself. And I know that a lot of other Jakes the same way, going into their grandmama house, right? You go up in a, you know, regular Jake grandmama house and shit. You got 37 pictures of Jesus all up on the wall. You got more pictures of Jesus on the wall than the damn family. You see what I'm saying? Every room you go into is Jesus in there looking like he looking at you and shit, right? But nevertheless, these are the things that we have going on. So why? We provoking the Lord to jealousy by bowing down and praising and worshiping and calling on to this here Jesus instead of calling on to the real Lord. All right. This whole thing is that imagery. They religion, worshiping the way they want you to worship, partaking in their high holy days, not the Lord's high holy days, but their high holy days, and doing the things that they want you to go into. All right. This is their religion. You're not bowing down. You how do they say, the scriptures say, you sacrifice unto the devils, not unto the Most High. All right. Verse 4, and behold, the glory of Yahweh of Israel was there according to the vision that I saw in plain. So he saw this here in a vision. Like I said, homeboy wound up time traveling into today's times. All right. Verse 5, then said he unto me, son of man, lift up thy eyes now the way towards the north. So I lifted up my eyes the way towards the north, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy in the entry. All right. And just, hey, you go up into these damn churches, especially these Catholic churches. All right. First thing first, you see when you walk up into the damn door. Some of them have it outside, but as soon as you walk inside the damn doors of these damn churches, you see a big ass cross with Jesus hanging on there. All right. Now, when I say Jesus, I'm not talking about Yahushua. I'm talking about Jesus. This goddamn white man, the damn devil, man. The white man with stringy hair is all against the Most High. All the things he got going on is against the Most High. All right. So you have this here image of jealousy set up. All right. And when you go inside these churches, like I said, they got the stained glass windows. You know, me personally, I've always been afraid to go in Catholic churches because, man, you got these big ass stained glass windows with these, you know, in my mind, I thought they was like, you know, the saints, but they was all like scary looking. Always had that down look on their face, looking down at your ass and shit like that. They all extra big. You walk in, you got to bow down. It's hell no, man. You got all these statues and shit. I just knew in my spirit that shit just wasn't even right. You know, even in my old carnal mind being a so-called Christian, nigga, this shit ain't right, man. I don't know. This shit just scary and ain't right, bruh. You know what I'm saying? You got these rosaries and all that shit, man. All right. But this was what was basically going on in these damn churches. All right. Verse 6, he said, furthermore unto me, son of man, seest thou what they do, even the great abominations that the house of Israel commit here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary, turn thee again, and thou shalt see greater abominations. Now, here's really just getting on the Israelites. All right. Because that's the only people that really matter to the Most High. It's not commanded to the Edomites or whoever else to be worshiping the Most High. He's our God. No other nation has known him. All right. But nevertheless, our people are being led to the as a flock to the slaughter by doing what? Mainly this here religion, which is all predicated off the so-called white man. All right. Especially what we got today. What we know of today is basically all built up off the so-called white man. All right. And you have our people like flocks going into the these churches and listening to their damn doctrine. All right. 40, 50 years you've been going to the church and listening to the Bible and don't know that you're an Israelite. Don't know that the things that the Israelites was going through is the same shit you going through. Don't know that the Israelites oppressors are the same people who's oppressing you. The people who was oppressing the Israelites was oppressing them the same way they oppressing you with the same shit, you know? 40, 50 years in the church and you can't even see that. All right. Because why? These are these new institutions that the so-called white man's put up to keep you asleep. All right. And he brought me to the door of the court. And when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then he said unto me, dig now in the wall. And I digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, go in and behold the wicked abominations that they do here. All right. So you understand how the Most High is talking to Ezekiel. Man, look at this shit, nigga. Look at this bullshit, nigga. These motherfuckers out here worshiping these goddamn, man, fuck this shit, man. All right. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, that, like, and if you're worried about the cussing and shit, man, you have no idea how upset the Most High is. I'm just cussing and shit. The Most High finna murder all these motherfuckers out here, man, over this bullshit, man. Just think about, we just supposed to be the Most High's, basically his wife, man. Basically what's going on right now is the Most High, like, let me put this in a carnal sense. The Most High, right, is the biggest thugged out gangster on the block, laying everything down. Don't nobody want to fuck with him, right? He got his right hand man, right? You know what I'm saying? And he's showing his right hand man. He like, look, nigga, you see this big ass mansion and shit, man? Got this big ass house. You see all them Rolls Royces out there and shit, man? You see all these servants and shit, man? You see all that Gucci, Louis Vuitton and all that extra shit, man? I got all this shit from my bitch out there, man. I done provided all this shit for my bitch. She ain't got to worry for shit, man. She got slaves and servants and everything, man. If a motherfucker look at her the wrong way, I'm taking that nigga head clean off his body, right? But now all of a sudden, now I'm walking, now the Most High, the most thugged out gangster nigga that you can even find, the most cold-hearted, ruthless motherfucker out there killing everything out there, right? Walking with his right-hand man up in his big-ass mansion. He'll be like, man, look at this shit. Open the bedroom door and see his wife out there getting banged out by like 10 different fucking homeless people. Like, you see this shit, all this shit that I done gave to her, homegirl want to be in here getting banged out by a bunch of homeless motherfuckers. Like, you see how fucked up this is? Like, you don't even consider that, nigga, I'm the boogeyman. I'm killing everything breathing. And you don't even respect me and honor me like this. This is what our people is doing, all right? We don't see what's going on, all the things that the Most High did for us, but what we want to go over here and worship and follow these abominable things that the so-called white man is doing. Yo, you don't understand your power. Your power that fucked you up already. First of all, he gave you all the shit, but then you fucked up and he took it all away from you. You still didn't learn, so he had to put you through this right now. He got Esau over top of you right now, but yet you still want to go and worship this situation. You still want to go and worship the same people who brought you over into slavery. So, you know, I'm kind of side a little bit with our people who talking about some, oh yeah, I believe on the Bible, the so-called white man's book, he used that to enslave you. Yeah, the so-called white man did use this book to enslave us, but it wasn't quite like that. All right. You got to understand that the Most High had blinded us because we didn't want to serve him. He was like, all right, Basically, going back to the analogy I was giving you, big thugged out ass gangster nigga killing everything breathing. I'm providing all this shit more in abundance for my woman, but I open the door. She want to get banged out by these 3 homeless people. All right, fuck it. You want to be hanging around with some homeless people? Get your shit. Get the fuck out of my house. You go live in a cardboard box and you get banged out by them niggas all goddamn day. That's what y'all want to do? Fuck it. Go ahead. That's where we at right now. You see what I'm saying? The Most High was like, y'all want to go fuck around with them Edomites? Go ahead. You know, go worship this stupid motherfucker. But at the end of the day, don't be looking, you know, while you out there in your cardboard box asking for some money and donations when I rob. Don't ask me for shit. Because you wanted to be out there with them homeless ass niggas. Go be with them bum ass niggas then. You see what I'm saying? So, how I'm saying, people be like, oh, y'all are over here mad. Or, why y'all got the Bible and cussing this and that like that? Like, no, man, you don't understand how mad the Most High is about this. He about to start annihilating you people because of these things, all right? Ezekiel chapter 8 is a fucking sad story, man, to be reading about our people modern day today in these fucking churches, man. Still doing the same thing, like just the, oh, man. Like, damn. Like I said, man, just the analogy of you providing all this shit for your woman and you like the most hardcore gangster killing nigga. Everybody don't fuck with him. And this simple bitch got the nerve to be, you walk in the bedroom and she getting plowed by 3 homeless motherfuckers. They ain't got no shit. They ain't even like your rival gangbangers or whatever, whatnot. Like, nah, nigga, hold up. The fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, do you not know who I am? Do you not know what I could do to you motherfuckers, man? Like, y'all some 3 homeless motherfuckers. I can kill y'all and ain't nobody gonna even worry about y'all. Nobody gonna be even looking for y'all. You know what I'm saying? The homegirl, you was happy with all the riches that you got, but now your ass homeless like them. You see, so you over here walking around stunting on how much shit you got now, but your ass is out on the side of the block and you homeless with them motherfuckers because you want to be with them. All right, so you want to be with them, you go die with them. That's how mad the Most High is with us. And same thing right now, just like in the times of Noah, the same thing here. Our people was doing the same thing. Y'all want to keep fucking with them homeless people while I'm trying to get you in on this big ass luxury cruise liner with all the food and shit before the shit start popping off? Y'all ass be out there with their ass. When I bring the flood water, don't come knocking on my door. Fuck y'all niggas, man. All y'all niggas is gonna die in y'all folly, man. All right, so again, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, for people who worried about us out here cussing this, that's the least amount of thing you should be worried about. Like, yo, if you think we angry or whatever, whatnot, yeah, oppression maketh the wise man mad and things like that. We sighing and crying for all the abominations thereof. We crying in our spirit to get it taken up out of this here place. But how mad do you think the Most High is, man? If you actually, we his mouthpieces right now speaking for him. So if we cussing, this is part of his spirit. We don't even have his whole spirit on us to give you the full wrath, because we would just be up on y'all ass, man. We would just be running through you motherfuckers, man. That's why when you read about like what Jeremiah 51 and 20 or Ezekiel 25 and 12 through 14, where it's talking about he's going to execute judgment on Edom by the hands of his people when he put his spirit onto us. See, we can't even physically, it's not physically possible for us to be as mad as we should be with Esau. It's nowhere physically possible. So the worst brother that you can see that's like, that nigga is always this, the worst of the worst, more, out there brother like that is doing all that. Hey, that brother is nowhere near close to how mad the Most High is about this. All right. You didn't touch the apple of his eye. And you got us out here worshiping the so-called white man, the damn devil, man. Man, you got all us and our babies and our grandmamas and shit bowing down on their knees, trying to get some salvation from the shit that they going through, being delivered from this shit, bowing down to the same nigga that's putting these things on us, man. All right, but not to go too far off on that, because that shit really pissed me off. But nevertheless, it's a beautiful thing now to see that they foundations of all this bullshit finally coming down, man. All right, because they got these chains around us now, not no physical chains around us, but they got a mental chain around us, and that mental chain starts with that image of the so-called white man being Jesus or our Lord and our Savior, man. All right, because when you grow up and as a so-called black man growing up, man, everybody around you, everybody in power around you, you subconsciously being taught that the so-called white man is God, because everybody around you is that's in a position of power is a so-called white man. The police, they white. You get in an accident or something like that, who gonna come to save you? So-called white man. Your house burned down, who gonna come to save you? So-called white man. You get sick, go to the hospital, who gonna cure you? The so-called white man. You dumb and need education, gonna go to school, who gonna teach you? The so-called white man. When you need to go to church and learn about God, who gonna teach you? The so-called white man. When you in problems and you need spiritual help, who you gonna bow down and pray to? The so-called white man. So at the end of the day, for you not to know that God is a so-called white man, you would be out of your mind when this is all you've been trained with. All right. But like I said, it's a beautiful thing now to see that all these idols are being broken down. All right. And their power is being taken away from them, because it's all a beautiful thing, man. Because these people are leading our people astray in these damn temples and these damn churches, which the Most High is not with, man. All right. And like I said, it's a beautiful thing to be able to measure these times, because we know that salvation is nigh. It's right around the corner. All right. Let me just finish off in here. It says, verse 9, it says, and he said unto me, go in and behold the wicked abominations that they do here. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping thing and abominable beast, and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the walls round about. Like I said, why it's scary as fuck going inside these goddamn Catholic churches and shit, nigga. You go inside these damn churches, man. All right, like if this is a high dollar church or whatever, whatnot, with these older churches, nigga, all the windows are stained glass windows of all these fake ass saints in there. You know, like the scripture say, he covereth all the faces of the judges thereof. You see what I'm saying? Man, let me read this again. Verse 10. So I went in and saw, behold, every form of creeping thing, an abominable beast. All right, talking about basically our people and shit, because they become what? Abominable beasts, because they, nigga, you worshiping the damn devil, man. Imagine that in the sight in the eyes of the Most High, man. Or imagine, again, you got this big tough guy gangsta ass nigga as you a woman, right? You got this big tough guy gangsta ass nigga as your husband, right? And his name, let's say his name is Steve, right? You as the woman and him in the bedroom, y'all fucking, and then you like, oh John, you calling this nigga John? What you think he gonna do to your ass, man? What the fuck, bitch? He liable to kill your ass. Like, hold on, how the hell we in the bedroom making love and shit, and you calling me another nigga name, right? I'm pleasing you and giving you all the things that you need, but you gonna repay me by calling me somebody else's name? That's the same shit the Most High, same thing going on with us in the Most High. He metaphorically calls us his woman, all right? And why he's so-called, not to say he's having sex with us, but he pleasing us by supposed to be blessing us with all these things. Instead of calling out his name and giving him glory, the water Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah for your blessings. Instead of saying that, thank you, Jesus. You see what I'm saying? You see how abominable, how fucked up this is? You see what I'm saying? But hey, that's a good thing why these goddamn churches is getting burned down, man, because the Most High is fucking pissed about that shit, man. All right, I can just measure that based on how pissed I am about this. If I was him, like, again, I keep making an analogy of you sleeping with your woman and all these things happening, because this is the same shit that's going on, man. We committing spiritual fornication with these other gods, man. All right, and where's the foundation of all these things? It's based off the so-called white man, his Christianity and stuff like that. All right, verse 10 again, it says, so I went in and saw, behold, every form of creeping thing and abominable beast, and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the walls round about. Got all these goddamn fake ass saints and shit. And stood before them 70 men of the ancient house of Israel. In the midst of them stood Jezaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. You know, like modern day today, you had these big Catholic mass services and churches and shit, or where they got the little incense and the censers and shit, provoking these spirits and stuff. Then said he unto me, you know, you see these people having these seances and they got all these candles lit, the incense and shit lit, and all these different things. Come on, man. Come on, man. Then said he unto me, son of man, hast thou seen what the ancient of the house of Israel do in dark? All right, going back up and tell what the heads of these churches. Now, this is talking about Israel, but, you know, who's teaching us all this shit, first and foremost? All right, and at the head of these Catholic churches, the pedophile shit, man, they not openly doing that. You're not saying, look, we're going to take our kids to church this weekend and we're going to let the pastor fill up on our kids or whatever. Hell no, man. This shit is all being done in so-called secret. That's why they keep being exposed, because it was done in the dark. The same shit that we reading about right here, man. So it's no far-fetched to believe that the Most High fucking hate them damn temples, them churches. And he out there laughing at, like the scripture said, I'm gonna laugh when your calamities come. He over here laughing and rejoicing that this motherfucking church done burnt down, man. All right. He says, then said he unto me, there's also a marking at the end of these goddamn idols and all these bullshit things that we just read about in Jeremiah 50. Baal is broken, her idols are confounded, Merodach is falling down. All these different things are all markers at the end of the so-called white man, man. The water Yahweh Shemel shot at this fucking white man about to go down, man. Our people should be rejoicing at things like this, man. These are all the signs telling us that salvation is not, man. The so-called white man is coming up out his power structure, man. He losing everything, man. Just like us. That's why I opened up with that Matthew 24, man. We wasn't in power per se, but we was in a way better position than now, man. We was still in Israel. We still knew who we were. But before all that, before this, where we at now happened, all right, the temple was destroyed, all right? That was the last straw. So now, what do you see happening? These curses falling upon Esau, Edom. His religious sector and all these things is falling down from him. All his witchcraft and all that is falling up out of his hands, all right? Let me just finish this out. It says, verse 13, and he said unto me, turn ye yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. So the Most High say, nah, you thought that shit was fucked up. Turn around and look at what these niggas is doing. The fuck is going on here? You see what I'm saying? The Most High is pissed the fuck off at this shit, man. All right. Verse 14, then he brought me to the door of the gate of Yahweh's house, which was towards the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. All right. Now, man, it's some fucked up shit here, man, because I literally seen this shit. I grew up seeing this shit, man. And all you Jake grew up, basically, if you was a Christian, right, You went in them churches where they was catching the Holy Ghost and shit. You know what I'm saying? You seen this shit too, man. All right. So if you understand Tammuz, who Tammuz is in the story of Tammuz, you got Semiramis, Nimrod, and Tammuz. In reality, all the shit that you celebrate, from all the holidays that you celebrate, all the religions that you celebrate, everything that you can think of, all this shit really go back to Nimrod. This nigga is the one who created all of this shit that you talk about now. Like, you get the picture of the Virgin Mary and the child and shit like that. All right, where they talk about that, like the original of all of that shit. They'll tell you, like, they got I think they call it two different things, because actually, if you look up in Google search the Black Madonna, right, you'll actually get this image that you would see modern day today with the Virgin and the child, but it's an actual black image, which was actually our images going back, like when you go into the Russian icons, those was actually images painted by our people. But really, these likenesses of these images go way back into Egypt. That's why they're like, oh, this is a stolen religion. Why is the story of Jesus the same story that was in Egypt? Nigga, that ain't the story of Jesus, nigga. Jesus was not born in no fucking immaculate birth. Well, Salakia, Yahushua was not born in no immaculate birth or no shit like that, all right? These stories all come back from Tammuz, Semiramis, and Nimrod. Like, if you can understand about how Nimrod's brother killed him, chopped his body up, and so on and so forth. Semiramis, his wife, went and found his body, put it all back together, but I think that she didn't find his penis, but she put his all body back together, wound up getting impregnated by homeboy, all right? And Semiramis basically came to earth in this goddamn egg, and she was very fertile. She was the fertile god. This is where you get Easter from, all right? Because her name was changed throughout time from Semiramis, Ishtar, all these different shits, right? This is where you get the damn Easter bunny with eggs. You see what I'm saying? The fertility god is coming in the damn egg. Also where you get the Christmas tree and the fucking, the wreaths. The Christmas tree represents Nimrod's penis, which is also the same representation of these obelisks. Same representation of these goddamn, neckties and shit like this. Where they have phallic worship, where they talk about phallic worship, which is worshiping the penis. Goes back to Nimrod. All this shit go back to Nimrod. The Christmas trees and all that. The Christmas tree, you deck it with all these different, the gold and all that different shit for the light and all that. You put the star at the top. The star on top is the sperm coming out. The damn wreath with the mistletoe and all those little red berries represents the female reproductive system in the ovaries, talking about how Semiramis gave birth to this. When women play around with dildos and shit, be fucking themselves with dildos, come back from Semiramis and shit like that. All your holidays, like I said, all your different holidays that you celebrate to this same day, Mother's Day and all these different shit, Valentine's Day, all go back to these people, right? But you don't even really know about it. But going back to weeping for Tammuz. Tammuz, again, was so-called the son of Semiramis and Nimrod. But Nimrod had died, and apparently Semiramis had this so-called immaculate birth, all right? There's a difference between the immaculate birth and the virgin birth. Yahushua was born of a virgin, a biblical virgin, meaning that she was not publicly married, or she wasn't, how do I say, publicly married in the sight of the rest of the Israelites, all right? When you go back to our law, all right, if you basically have a woman and you have sex with her, right? And like, first of all, you're supposed to, there's a way to do it. You're supposed to go and basically marry this woman. Well, marriage is basically consummated by having sex, but you're supposed to pay the father dowry, whatever, whatnot. But if you go and you take this here woman and you just have sex with her ass, or basically you rape this woman and you just leave her ass alone, and then some other man come up with this here woman, all right, and go to marry her, and you give the father the dowry or whatever, whatnot, you have your wedding, you know, like in modern day today, you had the honeymoon. Back then, what they would do is on that time where they consummate the marriage, they have sex for the first time, you know what I'm saying? The husband was thinking he buying a virgin, some woman ain't never had sex. You know what I'm saying? Like modern day times where they say they pop in their cherry, there's going to be blood. They take the sheets to the father, whatever, whatnot. Okay, yeah, she was a virgin. Or no, she wasn't a virgin. If you sold me a girl that wasn't a virgin, her ass supposed to get stoned to death because she played the harlot. This is why they was talking about Joseph and Mary putting her away privately, because everybody was just like modern day today. You around your people, you go, when somebody die, everybody go to the funeral. When somebody get married, everybody go to the wedding. So if y'all didn't go to this here wedding, homegirl getting pregnant, by law, she was supposed to get stoned to death. That's why they say don't worry about Joseph was a public man. He was out in public. Everybody knew Joseph. You see what I'm saying? So he would basically get stoned, put to death if they know that they didn't go to his wedding and homegirl pregnant nowadays. Who is she sleeping around with? It's by law, we supposed to put her to death. That's why they said, look, don't worry about that. This here is from the Lord. This ain't, you didn't really transgress the law or go off. This is where it's, you know, so on and so forth. All right. So nevertheless, this is what it's talking about, where he was born of a virgin. All right. This woman was basically the scriptures, you got like 3 different types of women. You got a whore who's going around just having sex with any and everybody. You got a woman who's basically, well, you got a virgin, right? Who is a young woman who ain't never been married or ain't never had sex with a man. She, you know, never, you know, was touched by another man. You know what I'm saying? And being touched by another man, like I said, you got a woman and a virgin. All right. Now you can have a woman that's not technically so-called married, that's having sex with other men. That would be considered a whore. But if you're a woman that ain't had sex with other men, you basically a virgin. Now, if you're a woman that's had sex with another man, that's now your husband, you still with that man, you are basically a woman, right? So when you hear them talking about a woman in the scriptures, she basically married to some man, or she was a widow or some man, all right? But if they say a virgin, this woman ain't never been with no man, all right? She ain't never been so-called married or had no ceremony, or these types of things going on. So that's why the Virgin Mary, they know that they ain't went to no wedding, whatever, whatnot, where it wasn't that they didn't have sex. They actually had sex, man. But Semiramis and Tammuz's story is a so-called immaculate birth, all right? So there's a difference there. Also, I believe it was either Tammuz or Nimrod was born on December 25th. This is where the story of Jesus was born on Christmas come from. All right. Like I said, all this shit go back to Semiramis and Tammuz. Now, going back to the women weeping for Tammuz, as you can follow the picture here, that Nimrod is supposed to be God, right? Semiramis is supposed to be like the Virgin Mary, right? Because she gave birth, an immaculate birth to the immaculate child, the son of God, the son of Nimrod, Tammuz, right? So now you see all these different things where they talking about, you know, where they have the same story, what the story of Jesus, what you think? You see what I'm saying? You got Jesus basically being born of an immaculate birth or whatever, whatnot, all right, the son of God and so on and so forth. So now you have these women weeping for Tammuz. Same thing you got in these black churches, whatever, whatnot. They go into church crying, oh, Jesus, they over there weeping and crying and so on and so forth, man. All over Tammuz, the fake ass Lord, basically the so-called white man now, in modern days today is the so-called white man. All right. Cause you got to understand, this is back in these days when they was writing this, they didn't have, Serapis and all that at this point in time. You see what I'm saying? Cesare Borgia, they didn't have those images up at that point in time. All right. But Ezekiel was transformed in modern days today and making the same likeness in comparison. Cause the story of Jesus that you know, which is different than the story of Yahushua, the story of Jesus that you know is the same story of Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. That's why I say you don't really realize that all these different holidays and celebrations and shit that you worship in is really the worship of Semiramis, Nimrod, and Tammuz. But you just don't realize that, all right? But in modern days, today's churches, this is what's going on. The women are weeping for Tammuz, or crying in there for Jesus, baby Jesus. You see what I'm saying? Verse 15, then said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee again and see greater abominations. And he brought me into the inner court of Yahweh's house. And behold, at the door of the temple of Yahweh, between the porch and the altar, there were 25 men, and their backs towards the temple of Yahweh, and their face towards the east, and they worshiped the sun towards the east, the sun, the sun, right? Now, when you go into the Catholic Church, they so-called headed in public by the what they call, what you know of as the Pope, all right? But they actually call him the White Pope, right? Now, they have another Pope, which, you know, the Catholic Church, you think the head of that shit is the Pope. That's not even the head of that shit. There's a whole, it start back around at the bottom again and go back up to another top. All right. You have the so-called the Jesuits, which is the Society of Jesus. All right. Which has nothing to do with the Lord at all. These you know, there's no marvel for the devil has transformed himself into an angel of light. This all is going on. It's all written in the scriptures. But nevertheless, what is their image and all these different, well, nevertheless, their highest position is what they call the Black Pope. The Black Pope is over top of the White Pope. Really, like I said, you got people up under the Black Pope, which they are all over top of the White Pope, right? So the head of all these things is really the Black Pope. Now, when you see them in their so-called imagery and their logos or whatever, whatnot, it's basically a sun, and you have the, image of the actual sun, right? S-U-N, and you have the letters I-H-S, in which, you know, they'll probably tell you what it stands for or whatever, whatnot, but really go back to what? Isis, Horus, and Set, which it all go back to what? The same story of what? Semiramis, Nimrod, and Tammuz. It's all the same shit going back and forth, and back and forth again. So in today's times, in these modern day Catholic churches, most I was telling you, look at these abominations, man. These motherfuckers in there worshiping the sun, whatever, whatnot, weeping for Tammuz. They crying over this fake ass Jesus and worshiping the sun and so on and so forth. They just making this an abomination. All the churches got up on the walls, all these idols and abominations. All right. To the T, they describing these Catholic churches and these Christian churches that the Israelites mainly go into. All right. Verse 17, he says, then he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Is it a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit? All right. Now going into the so-called black people churches, for they have filled the land with violence. They have returned to provoke me to anger. For lo, they put a branch to their nose. So it says they have filled, They have filled the land with violence. They have returned to provoke me with anger. So what did they do? Damn near every other block in the so-called black man neighborhood, they got these damn churches, these whorehouses on all the damn blocks, man. All right, so this is what our people are doing. The so-called Negroes, the Southern Kingdom is doing the same thing that they doing, man. All right. Therefore will I deal in fury. My eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry at my ear with a loud voice, yet will I not hear them. Yet will I not hear them. All right. And so this, ultimately happened to us, when the temple was destroyed and so on and so forth. But ultimately, the rest of our people going to wind up dying, the ones that don't want to depart up out of these damn churches and so on and so forth, man. The Lord is coming down, bringing judgment on the so-called white man, destroying their temples and all these different whorehouses that's leading our people to astray, man. Just beautiful times to be living in and be able to look at these things and measure the time diligently, man. All right, so there's major things happening. Keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled. Everything has a meaning. You know what I'm saying? Try to filter it through the scriptures, Hey, man, and pray for endurance to the end, man. We almost up out of here, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying into the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Ark and pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say stay strong and shalom.